What a crazy night we had on Thursday night. For the second time this season, and we're not even out of the month of December, the number one team in the country in college basketball goes down. Texas and Seton Hall have a great game on a Thursday night, and the Pittsburgh Steelers may have just found themselves a one-way ticket out of the NFL playoffs. We have two huge college basketball games on this weekend that I want to address. The Heisman Trophy is going to be presented. Some of the college football, all the college football awards have been handed out. I want to talk about a couple of them. We're also going to talk about the coaching carousel in college football this week. And we have a slew of games in the NFL on Sunday that you may want to think about. We will start the show right after this.
Spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of sport, the thrill of victory, and the agony of defeat. The human drama of athletic competition. This is ABC's Wide World of Sport.
All right. For the second time this year, the number one team in the country in college basketball has went down. Rutgers upset number one Purdue last night, 70-68. It was a Ron Harper Jr. game-winning jump shot that gave Rutgers the victory last night. Ron Harper Jr., 30 points, 10 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. He had 30 points, a career high. He's been averaging only 14.8 points per game. Malot Mag, 12 points, 3 rebounds. Caleb McConnell, 12 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals. An excellent night for him. Clifford Amari, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, 1 block. Ron Harper Jr. had a double-double last night. If it weren't for that, Purdue would have ran away with the game. No doubt in my mind. As for Purdue, Travion Williams, 21 points, 11 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. Jaden Ivey, 15 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists, 3 steals. Zach Edey, 13.6 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block. Last night, Rutgers shot 52% from the floor. They hit 50% of their threes. That's why they won the game, despite 15 turnovers. And that's what got me. When Rutgers pulled off this upset last night, it was a Ron Harper Jr. jumper at the buzzer. It was more than that. I mean, when you got Rutgers shooting over 52% and Purdue only shot 41% for the game, and that was it. Now Rutgers shot about 13 of 18 at the free throw line. That's 72.2%. But a big win last night for Rutgers. It was a huge one because right now they're having some struggles. I'm not gonna lie. But Matt Painter of Purdue, he has struggled every time Purdue's the number one team in the country. They happen to lose to an unranked team all the time. They lost to a team that's struggling. Ron Harper Jr., 30 points last night. He's only averaging 14.8 points per game. But still, Rutgers found a way to get the job done. They made a comeback. They didn't quit. They had heart. And that is why Rutgers pulled off the upset that everybody was talking about last night. It was bigger news than Texas Seton Hall. It was a ranked versus ranked. They're thinking, all right, we're going to have a ranked versus ranked matchup. That's going to be the one I'm tuning into. But then all of a sudden, Rutgers comes out of nowhere. That's exactly what happened last night. Oh, and speaking of Texas and Seton Hall. Seton Hall pulled off an upset of their own, 64-60 last night. And they got that job done. Jared Roden, 18 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. Alexis Yente, 12 points, 11 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block. A double-double for him last night. Pretty nice. Miles Cale, 10 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. Bryce Aiken, 10 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal. He struggled last night because he had 5 points in the final minute of the game. That's all there was to it. For the Texas Longhorns, Trey Mitchell, 19 points, 11 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, 2 blocks. I hate big numbers like that in a losing effort. Timmy Allen, I feel so bad for him. 17 points, 12 rebounds. Ouch, that's going to hurt. That's going to sting a little bit. Marcus Carr, 10 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists. That was it. Seton Hall won this game because the Texas Longhorns cannot shoot a 3-ball to save themselves. They were only 1 of 13 from beyond the arc last night. That's only 7.7%. Are you sure we were dealing with Texas unemployment rate or something? They were not. Now, Texas was 9-9 at the free throw line. Hee-haw. Because they struggled. They had 10 turnovers last night. Seton Hall was 20. They shot 40.4% from the field. They shot better from beyond the arc. If you call 5 of 21 for 3-point land, that's only 23.8%. In Seton Hall, they held Texas scoreless for They held Texas scoreless for 7 minutes, 20 seconds at one point in the game, down the stretch. Keep that in mind. And as for Seton Hall, they're 6-0 at home, but they're 8-1 overall. But the biggest thing that got my attention, Texas 3-point shooting. 1 3-pointer all night. They could have hit 10 of them, and they could have won. Texas shot better from the field, 42.4%. But the 9 for 9 at the free throw line didn't make a difference. When you can't score for 7 minutes, 20 seconds down the stretch, you don't deserve to win. My hats go off to Seton Hall. They got it done. And it was a big win for the Seton Hall Pirates out of the Big East last night. Well, we had 2 college basketball games that had great finishes last night, but we also had a game in the NFL that had a fantastic finish last night. The Minnesota Vikings beat the Pittsburgh Steelers 36-28. At one point, the Steelers were down 29-0 in the third quarter. And slowly they started to come back. But it took an incomplete pass in the end zone, which was broken up by the Vikings to give the Vikings the win. Kirk Cousins, he was 14-31 last night for 216 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Dalvin Cook, the real hero of the game, 27 carries, 205 yards, 2 touchdowns. The defense, got to give them some love. Eric Kendricks, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss. Harrison Smith, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. Sheldon Richardson, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss. Michael Pierce had 1 sack in the game. And Armon Waits, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. As for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Ben Roethlisberger, 28 of 40, 304 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Najee Harris, He had 104 yards of offense by himself last night with 2 touchdowns. James Washington, 4 catches, 65 yards, and a touchdown. And Pat Freiermuth, 2 catches, 32 yards, and a touchdown last night. That was it. The Pittsburgh Steelers' chances of making the playoffs they're just about gone. They needed a huge win over the Vikings last night, and they didn't get it. Before the game last night, the Steelers' chances of making the playoffs were only at 19%. Now with the loss, it's dropped to 10%. That was it. And as far as the Minnesota Vikings go, before this game last night, the Vikings only had a 26% chance of making the playoffs. Now, it's gone up to 32%. I know it's not much to brag about, but any little bit helps right now. The NFC playoff race is overcrowded. Because, you got Dallas and Washington this weekend. If Washington loses, they may be on the outside. The San Francisco 49ers, they face the Bengals this weekend. And I'm going to address both of those games here in a few minutes. Washington plays Dallas. If Washington loses, Minnesota could possibly jump back up. And if the Bengals beat the 49ers, they could jump back up too. That's just something to think about. I'm going to address all the NFL stuff in just a few minutes. So bear with me. But we got a few other things I want to talk about first. All right. That was the Thursday night review. Now we move on to the real weekend kickoff that everybody's going to have talking. And how are we going to start it off? College basketball. I haven't talked much about it because of all the college football stuff, but college basketball, baby, is back. And how do you start the return of college basketball with me talking about it? Number 21, Ohio State. Number 22, Wisconsin. This is a huge Big Ten game with a lot on the line. And the bottom line is this. Wisconsin's only 1-0 against ranked opponents. Ohio State has beat 2 of 3 ranked opponents. And yes, they have knocked off the number 1 team in the country, Duke. They did that in Columbus about just last weekend. Or last week, I should say. Ohio State seniors Kyle Young, Justin Ahrens, and Jamari Wheeler have accounted for 32% of the Buckeye scoring. And they have accounted for their scoring in 39% in the last 5 games. There's one of the X factors right there. But the real X factor is Wisconsin's Johnny Davis. He has scored on 40% of 33 pointers, and he's attempted 9, and he has made 9 of 16 in the last 8 games. That is something to think about. But as for Ohio State, write the number 12 down. If Ohio State has less than 12 turnovers, they're 5-0. They're 5-0 if they have less than 12 turnovers. If they have more than 12, they're only 2-2. And Ohio State, to their credit, they've been averaging 79.2 points per game. And their defense has allowed only 67.6 points per game. That is huge. And Wisconsin has recorded the turnover. Let me back up. The Wisconsin offense has recorded a turnover on only 13.1% of possessions, and that's 7th best in the nation. This is going to be a good one, people. And this is a 12 noon game on the Big Ten Network. I'm looking forward to this one. We have a big one. With this game, there's a lot to talk about. I mean, if you think about it, you got Kyle Young, Justin Ahrens, and Jamari Wheeler. They've accounted for 32% of Ohio State's scoring. Johnny Davis, he's a 3-baller. Look out for him on Saturday. Ohio State has beaten 2 ranked opponents already. They're 2-1 against ranked opponents. But keep in mind, Ohio State has also upset number 1 Duke. They did that at the shot. I saw the end of that game. I'm thinking, you got to be kidding me. A lot of people have complained about Ohio State. They talk about Ohio State, how great they are in football. But why are they not that good in basketball? Well, I look at it like this. They don't have like a Coach K or a Roy Williams or somebody like that, or a John Calipari. Now, nothing personal against Chris Holtman. He's a great coach. But if Ohio State wants to compete, if they really want to contend, they got to start recruiting some 5-star players. That's all there is to it. But anyway, that's for another time. Number 21, Ohio State. Number 22, Wisconsin. 12 noon on the Big Ten Network. This is going to be fun. Now, you think that Saturday game is going to be fun? We have a 3 o'clock game Sunday on ABC that's going to have everybody talking. Number 6, Villanova versus number 2, Baylor. Baylor is 8-0. And how are they doing it? Well, let's see. Baylor's been averaging 84 points per game. And they've only allowed 56.4 points allowed per game. But they also know how to be a stealer. And what am I talking about? How about 11 and a half steals per game? That is how Baylor has managed to stay undefeated all year. As for Villanova, they have 2 bad losses. But they got a couple of star players that you might want to think about. Colin Gillespie. He's been averaging 17.3 points per game. And 3.7 assists per game and 1 point steals per game. But he's got some great support. Jermaine Samuels, 12 points per game. He leads the team in rebounds with 6.1 rebounds per game and 0.8 blocks per game. That is something to talk about. And Villanova, they've given up 62 points per game, but they've scored 78.2. This game is part of the Big East Big 12 battle. Before I forget. But how is Baylor doing it? How are they still undefeated? You know about the 11 and a half steals per game. You need to look out for L.J. Cryer. 15.4 points per game, 2 rebounds per game, and 2.1 assists per game. I know it doesn't sound like much, but he can shoot. But he's also got great support in Kendall Brown. 13.4 points per game, 3.8 rebounds per game, and 2 assists per game. There's another guy who can get it done too. Baylor, Villanova. Sunday on ABC. Buckle your seatbelts, fans. This one is going to be fun. And it is also part of the Big East versus Big 12 battle. Let's get it on, and we'll see who the better team is. And I'm going to tell you now, if Villanova can answer the bell, they can pull off an upset. But Baylor, they're tough. They are one tough team. Will they go the entire season undefeated? I don't think so. They're good. They're a great team, but it's early in the season and anything can happen. If Baylor wins tomorrow, they'll be the new number 1 come next week. That's all there is to it. All right. That's your college basketball slate for the weekend. I know it's not much of a slate, but that's about the best I can offer you. There we go. On Saturday, don't forget on Saturday too, after all the college basketball and the Army-Navy game, the Heisman Trophy is going to be presented. Once again, here are your 4 finalists for the Heisman Trophy. Alabama quarterback Bryce Young. He won the Maxwell Award last night and the National Player of the Year. Is he on his way to the Heisman? You might as well say it. But there are 3 other guys who are going to have their say. Ohio State quarterback C.J. Stroud. 3,862 yards, 38 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He's only a freshman, but he'll probably have another shot. Michigan defensive end Aiden Hutchinson. The Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. He's also picked up a few awards, and I'll get to those in here in just a second. But Aiden Hutchinson this season, 58 total tackles, 32 solos, 14 sacks, 15 and a half tackles for loss, 2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery. That is what Aiden Hutchinson has done all year. So don't say he hasn't done anything, and you know that's a lie. And Pitt quarterback Kenny Pickett, the ACC All-Around Player of the Year, and Offensive Player of the Year. And did Kenny Pickett pick up any other awards along the way? He's also picked up the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award for upperclassmen quarterbacks. Huge deal right there, too. Nice honor for him. But it's for Alabama's Bryce Young. I forgot to mention his numbers. 4,322 yards passing, 43 touchdowns, and only 4 interceptions. I'm going to ask you guys something, just between us. Who was the last really honest defensive player ever to win the Heisman Trophy? I know. Charles Woodson in 1997. He was a defensive player. Remember the year that Peyton Manning was the odds-on favorite? And Woodson came out of nowhere and took it? Could it happen again? Bryce Young is the odds-on favorite to win the Heisman Trophy. But Aiden Hutchinson could pull a Charles Woodson. Now, Bryce Young, great numbers. 4,322 passing, 43 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. But Aiden Hutchinson has done super this year. 58 total tackles, 33 solo. 14 sacks. He set the single-season sack record. 15 and a half tackles for loss, 2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery. And you think about what Aiden Hutchinson has already done. Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. He won let me explain this. He's also won the Woodson-Nagurski Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year and the Smith-Bound Big Ten Defensive Lineman of the Year. He's already got 2-3 awards already. And he's already earned consensus Big Ten first team honors. Let me tell you something. Aiden Hutchinson, I'm telling you. Now, I know Bryce Young's probably got the Heisman Trophy wrapped up. Some people are already saying he's got it wrapped up. But I got to tell you this. Aiden Hutchinson could pull a Charles Woodson. It could happen. That is something everybody needs to think about. And you guys, you can laugh at me all you want. But I'll say this. Woodson would make the Heisman Trophy presentation in 97. He's thinking, okay, whatever happens, happens. Lo and behold, he's holding the Heisman in his hand. This could be the closest Heisman vote, one of the closest Heisman votes in recent history. Going to be as close as Bo Jackson and Chuck Long in 85. I doubt it. Yeah, you know everybody all over the South is going to vote Bryce Young. But Aiden Hutchinson's going to get some votes. Take out the bias. Take out the bias towards the SEC. Take out all the bias. And I'm being unbiased here. If somebody were to ask me, who would you give your Heisman vote to? I would say Aiden Hutchinson in 2 seconds. If you see what he's done. Everybody's talking about how great Bryce Young is. Nothing personal against Alabama. But if you look at everything and what Aiden Hutchinson has done, you need to keep him in the back of your minds tomorrow night. And if it turns out I'm wrong, I will apologize. But however, I got to be fair. Hutchinson could pull a Charles Woodson. It could be 97. It could be 1997 all over again. Charles Woodson comes out of nowhere and wins the Heisman. It could happen tomorrow night. That is something everybody needs to think about going into tomorrow evening. The Heisman Trophy will be presented. That's all, and that's the bottom line. Now, there were a few other awards that were handed out last night. Luke Fickell, the Cincinnati head coach Luke Fickell Home Depot won the National Coach of the Year. The first time ever the Cincinnati Bearcats, a group of 5 school, is going into the college football playoff. Now do you see why Cincinnati's looking forward to jump into the Big 12? And you'll have a whole new Big 12 come next year. Now, Pitt's Kenny Pickett has picked up a couple of awards. He picked up the ACC overall and offensive player of the year award in the ACC this year, but he's also won the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award for top upperclassman quarterback. A couple of nice awards for him already. Heisman finalist Bryce Young. He's already won the Maxwell Award. He's already won National Player of the Year. But Alabama's linebacker Will Anderson Jr. was announced as the Bronco Nagurski Award winner for best linebacker for the year. Georgia interior linebacker Jacoby Dean has been announced as the Dick Butkus Award winner. Nice honor for him going in. Aiden Hutchinson and Kenny Pickett, I've already talked about them. And I'm done with that. At least until after the Heisman Trophy is presented tomorrow night. Those were just some of the awards. If you want to see the rest of the awards list, go to ESPN.com. I wrote some of these down. I didn't have enough time to get everything wrote down. Now, we've talked about the awards, but I also want to talk about a couple of other things. The coaching carousel in college football that has already started. Some teams have already decided to move on from coaches. Some coaches are going to new places. And there are 3 coaches that have actually inked a 10-year deal to stick around for a long time. Florida has moved on from Dan Mullen. They replaced him with Louisiana's coach Billy Napier. And Billy Napier actually played for Florida at one time in his career. Lincoln Riley. He left Oklahoma to go coach at USC. Now Oklahoma's looking for somebody else to take over. Brian Kelly shocks everyone. He leaves Notre Dame to go coach at LSU. Marcus Freeman takes over. Marcus Freeman takes over as the coach of the Fighting Irish. And his first game is against Ohio State. And he was a former Ohio State player, and he took some shots at the Buckeyes. Marcus Freeman, you're going to regret doing that when the season starts in 2022. And, of course, Manny Diaz is out as coach at Miami. Oregon head coach Mario Cristobal is his replacement. Oregon's losing their head coach because Mario Cristobal is going to Miami. But he knows a thing or two about Miami. Cristobal has won 2 national championships with Miami as a player in '89 and again in '91. Can Mario Cristobal lead the Hurricanes back to the old national championship glory that they once had back in the late '80s, early '90s? We'll have to wait and see on that. There are 3 coaches that have actually inked 10-year deals. Penn State's James Franklin. He's going to be sticking around for 10 years. Well, apparently Penn State is not in any hurry to win another national championship or win another Big Ten title because Franklin can't get it done again to be in the big games. Michigan State head coach Mel Tucker. This past season was a great season. 11-1 overall, only 1 loss to Ohio State. And think about what Mel Tucker did. He had a great season beating his in-state rival Michigan. And also, too, Ole Miss head coach Lane Kiffin is going to be sticking around for another 10 years. Apparently, Kiffin must be doing something right because Ole Miss was a contender for a long time this season. So that is your coaching carousel. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more to come. Now, we've already talked about one NFL game, the college basketball slate, and the college football awards, and the Heisman Trophy. But what I'm going to go ahead and do right now, because I feel the need to absolutely do this, is we are going to take ourselves a nice little song break. Because I got to drink something real quick here. Because I'm starting to lose my mind here. Let's see what we can find. Here's something we can find. You know the old Wisconsin jump around song, House of Pain? That the University of Wisconsin plays at their football games, and what the Minnesota Golden Gophers did to them after the upset and took them out of the Big Ten championship game? That is the song I am going to be playing. Jump Around by House of Pain. Please, please enjoy. Okay, that was Jump Around by House of Pain. And I still haven't forgotten how Minnesota rubbed into Wisconsin's face after that upset on Rivalry Saturday a couple weeks ago. Okay, let's move on to the NFL. I really hope you guys did enjoy that song, by the way. Let's go ahead and let's go back. Let's get to going to the NFL. The Baltimore Ravens face the Cleveland Browns on Sunday. It's very simple. It's a must-win for the Browns if they want to stay alive in the playoff race. Baltimore quarterback Lamar Jackson made this confession when he was asked by reporters. The last time these two teams played, it was bad. But Lamar Jackson did make this confession. I looked like a nightmare out there the last time I faced him. But this time I have more tricks up my sleeve. That is exactly what Lamar Jackson said. And Lamar Jackson, you better have more tricks up your sleeve because right now the Browns are fighting for their playoff lives. They're just fighting to stay alive. Cleveland rookie linebacker Jeremiah Kernack put it at best like this. It worked perfectly. Minus one important detail. We didn't get the win. The last time these two teams played, Lamar Jackson looked like a nightmare. But the Browns just could not cash in the last time these two teams faced off. The Browns season is on the line. The Browns are trying to get into the playoffs. If they can get a win over the Ravens and then win out, they could possibly win the AFC North. As crazy as it sounds, they can still win the AFC North. The North is crowded right now. Now, I grant you the Ravens are like the 3 seed in the playoff picture. And the Bengals are fighting for a wild card spot. And I'll talk about the Bengals here in a minute. But a win for the Browns would go a long way. Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski has already said, my guys know what's at stake on Sunday. And he's absolutely right. Our playoff hopes ride on a win over Baltimore. And that's just all there is to it. I'm not going to say anything that ain't true. Kevin Stefanski just kept it short and sweet and to the point when he was addressed by reporters the other day. Browns Ravens, Sunday at 1 o'clock. Not a bad way to start off the weekend. But we have another 1 o'clock game. And surprisingly, both teams are alive in the AFC East. The Dallas faces Washington. Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy says, I love the schedule we have. We have a shot at the top seed with 4 or 5 games against the NFC East. And Washington head coach Ron Rivera said, we are in a round robin. You have the opportunity to control it. So you've got to go out and win and do your job. Mike McCarthy kept it simple. But the question is, will Amari Cooper, will Ezekiel Elliott be healthy? Ezekiel Elliott's has had some injury issues, and he was out to 50 yards rushing in the last couple of games. But what about the Washington football team? They started the season 2-6. They've won 4 in a row. Now they're at 6-6, knocking on the door of the playoffs. So literally, this is a round robin. They got to face each other again. If the Cowboys win, they'll be in the driver's seat in the NFC East. But if Washington wins, it's going to be a nightmare. And all of a sudden now, Washington's only about a game and a half back in the NFC East. So really, this is a battle for the division. And this was a Washington football team that at one point was 2-6. They won 4 in a row. Can they win their 5th straight? That remains to be seen. But this is a big game for a lot of reasons. We're talking about NFL playoff picture. Washington's hanging on to a wild card spot right now. But if they beat the Cowboys, it's going to get interesting. Things are really going to start heating up towards the end of the season. And we only got a few weeks left. We'll have to wait and see what happens. However, this is going to be a big game down the stretch to close the season. And it is a round robin the rest of the way. Now, there's another game we need to talk about. The Las Vegas Raiders versus the Kansas City Chiefs. The Raiders are coming to town. And can they bring some of that Vegas luck with them? They're going to need it. The Chiefs are looking for their 6th straight win of the season. Las Vegas full free safety Jonathan Abraham said, this is a must-win for us. If we win, we're still alive. If we lose, you can pretty much kiss our playoff hopes goodbye. But we know it's at stake, and everybody knows it. Kansas City quarterback Patrick Mahomes said, I am going to have so much fun with these guys against Las Vegas on Sunday. It's going to be so much fun. We're going to beat them. We're going to send them packing as far as the playoffs go, and we'll see how everything goes. But when Las Vegas wide receiver Hunter Renfrow was stopped, he said, Mahomes better be careful because we got some defensive guys who can do a lot of damage, and we're going to get the win, and we're going to stay alive in the playoff race. But when Kansas City head coach Andy Reid was asked, he took a little bit more of a quieter approach. He said, we won 6 straight. We're looking to win our 6th straight. And hopefully we know we're still going to be in the playoff picture no matter what happens. But I want to go out and win within the division. It's overcrowded, but we want to get out of that crowd. And that's all that matters to me. Andy Reid's absolutely right. The AFC West is still crowded. He wants to break out of the crowd, and I don't blame him. This is a big one. And a lot of people are saying right now, if the Raiders lose, they're out. Because they'll be back under 500. And no AFC team is going to make the playoffs on the 9-7 record this year. It could happen, but I highly doubt it. We still got a few weeks to go before the season ends. And we'll have to wait and see what happens this time around when these two teams face off. This is going to be a fun one on Sunday. The San Francisco 49ers face the Cincinnati Bengals in a must-win for both teams. Both teams are hanging on to the 7th spot in the wild card race. Last Sunday, San Francisco 49ers quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo had a nightmare. He could not finish a 95-yard drive against the Seattle Seahawks. And Jimmy Garoppolo put it at best like this. I had my worst nightmare last Sunday losing to the struggling Seattle Seahawks. When you cannot finish a 95-yard drive, you have a problem. The question is, has Jimmy Garoppolo recovered from that nightmare? A lot of people are hoping he has said yes. We'll see what the 49ers can do. But Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow, he's not exactly off the hook either. Joe Burrow said this. Basically, he said, I have a boo-boo on my pinky finger on my throwing hand. I suffered that against the Chargers, and he's right. Keep that in mind. But he also said this, I still believe we can make it into the postseason despite last week. But we have to finish the job this week. And Joe Burrow's right. The Cincinnati Bengals have got to get the job done against the 49ers this week, or they could be on the outside looking in. The playoff picture in the AFC and the NFC is crazy. The 49ers losing to the struggling Seattle Seahawks last Sunday. Garoppolo not being able to finish a 95-yard drive. That really hurt. And that is why the 49ers are clinging to the 7th spot in the playoff picture and the very last wild card. The Bengals are in the same boat. So this is a battle of two teams hoping just to stay alive in the playoff race. And this is a 4:25 game on CBS Sunday. Keep that, and that's the truth. All right. Last but not least, the Buffalo Bills face the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a battle of two teams hoping to make the playoffs. Tom Brady said it at best. I wanted the division title and much more. Well, Tom Brady, I'm going to tell you right now, the Buccaneers have a chance to clinch the NFC South with a win on Sunday. As for the Buffalo Bills, they're coming off of a bad loss on a cold winter's night at home, 14-10 against the New England Patriots. In their last 7 games, the Bills have only gone 3-4. It was Bills quarterback Josh Allen who put it at best. The team is struggling, including myself. I'm not exempt at all. And Josh Allen is absolutely right. In the last 5 games for Josh Allen for the Buffalo Bills, he's had 9 touchdowns. Pretty good. But He's got 7 interceptions and 2 lost fumbles. That is what's happened to Josh Allen in the last 5 games. And let me say this. The Bills are struggling. They're clinging to they were clinging to the last wild card spot. Not anymore. That loss. The Bills are clinging on to life, the last wild card spot. But if they lose to the Buccaneers, they may be on the outside looking in. The NFL wild card race in both divisions is overcrowded. And everybody knows it. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for my closing thoughts. As the year 2021 comes to a close, we actually have a chance to reflect back on what has happened in this sports calendar year. We opened the year with a legend of the game, Tom Brady winning another Super Bowl. We saw Phil Mickelson, an older guy, win the Masters. We saw Helio Castroneves at age 46 win his 4th Indianapolis 500, becoming the 3rd oldest man ever to win the 500-mile race. This year in baseball, we watched the Atlanta Braves win the World Series when nobody gave them a shot, including myself. But as the year 2021 draws to a close, and we only got about just a few weeks left, I reflect on the times that we've had this year. And I thought about everything that has happened. Will we see a positive in 2022? And what will 2022 bring? We don't know. But 2021 in the sports world was wonderful. Full crowds back at ballparks. Seeing full crowds again. Seeing the fans in the stands. Seeing folks in the seats at basketball arenas and football stadiums and baseball parks. If you were in the United States, this is what the country needed. We needed to pick me up, and we got it. And that's the bottom line on this Friday. Okay, folks, I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. I want to thank you guys so much for being with me. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. My name is Scott Manning. All you have to do is type my name, scroll down, look for this pretty face, click subscribe, and you'll see all the sports videos I have done so far. I want to thank you guys so much for being with me here on this Friday. You guys have a great weekend. Thank you so much for being with me, and God bless. And I will be back here Sunday night at 11:30 for the Scott Manning YouTube Sports Weekend Wrap-Up Show. You guys have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for being with me, and God bless. Goodbye, everybody, and I thank you.